You will see a try-on of all of these at the end of the video, I promise, but I wanted to give you a quick view of the collection before we get into the dyeing stuff. So I ended up getting a superb deal on Amazon. Both of the dyes that I will be using for this project, altogether including shipping, came up to $5.09. So I don't exactly know why. Like, when I went to checkout, I all of a sudden had like a discount or something that made it so cheap, and that discount came out of nowhere, so I don't know. But what we're going to do is we are going to dye some skull tights like this. So I bought 3 pairs of the white skulls, the other 2 of which are still in their packages. So one is going to be neon green, because I have neon green bat tights that I like quite a lot, and I think I like the neon green more than the more subtle green you can see for the witch tights. And the purple, although this doesn't look like a specifically pastel purple, that is what I'm going to be going for, so it will require less dye to achieve that, because as you can see, of the purples we got going on here, we've got a darker one. It's showing up a little bit lighter on camera. And then we have these ones over here. Now this one is the only one that is showing up on camera more like how it looks in person, and it's like more of a misty purple gray. So it's not pastel, but it's a lot closer to pastel. And then these spooky socks are like a pinkish purple. So I would like a pastel purple to kind of go for like a pastel goth, because the closest thing I have to pastel goth, I feel like, is these pink spiderweb tights. So I would like to have a little more of that here, because as you can see with my Halloween tights, most of them are traditional Halloween colors, which is great, but I would like to have a little bit more pastel in my spooky. So the plan is to boil the water in a pot and then pour it half and half in these little pans here, and then put the dye in and then put the tights in, because they have to be fully submerged, and I feel like this is good enough. And have both of them in the sink, because the kitchen sink has a black interior, so the dye is not going to really affect it. Even if it does stick, it won't be noticeable. And I'm going to use something to measure the temperature of the water in the pot so that it gets up to what the instructions on the bottle tells me that it has to be. So because I'll be dealing with really hot water, I will not be filming too much of the part where I'm like getting the water hot, pouring it in here, submerging the tights. I will probably, what I'll do is I will, after the water has been dumped out of these and the tights are just kind of sitting in them, marinating, before I give them the cold rinse, I will show you, and then you'll see them dry in the final montage reveal where you see me wearing all of these for a few seconds. So yeah, that's the plan. So let's do it.
Oh, I appreciate it. Great.
Taking inventory?
Sort of.
So I realized, see that stripe there, and see these ones? When I showed you my collection of Halloween tights laid out before, I had forgotten those 5. So now I've retrieved them so that you can see all of it. Anyway, these are the tights. They are done with the dyeing process, And I did not leave the purple tights in the dye bath very long because, again, I wanted it to be kind of a light purple, and you can see from the color on the bottle that it is lighter the way that I wanted it to be, so that works. If you look in comparison to the other purples here, I did in fact achieve what I was going for. It's darker than the pastel purple stripes here, but it's still light enough that it's like where I wanted it, because the purple skull tights that Snake Tights sells is more like this or these purples, like it's on the darker side, and I wanted one on the lighter side. With the neon green, as you can see, it worked, having it right next to the bottle. The bottle is a little bit more brighter, but like you can't expect it to be exactly the same. If you look at this neon one over here, I did not achieve that, but also the bottle is not a color as bright as that, so I didn't expect to. It's like halfway between neon and pastel, but it is still within the range of what I was going for, so I consider it a success. There is a slight caveat though, which is that even though these are both RIT dyes, and I used the same amount of water in the dye bath, the same amount of detergent, the same amount of vinegar, which they do tell you on the bottle to include vinegar, and yet the tights that were dyed green shrunk a little bit. Not to the point where they don't fit anymore, they still fit, but they did shrink a bit. And I don't know why, considering they're both the same brand, I dyed them both the same way. The only theory I have, because I was worried about not ending up with a lighter purple, is that I only had the tights that were being dyed purple in the dye bath for, I want to say, like 5 minutes tops, and the green was more like 10 minutes. So I don't know if the whole like being exposed to the hot water for longer than these ones is what did that, because on Snag's website they do tell you that if you dye them or expose them to a lot of heat that it can degrade the stretch. But Snag has also done showcasing of dyeing their tights, so they have told people before that you can dye them. So I was under the impression that the whole heat degrading the stretch thing was more like if you repeatedly expose the tights to hot temperatures, but doing it once should have been fine. And yet I got a little bit of shrinkage only on this one. But that is okay, because like I said, the stretch was not affected enough. I did try one leg on just to like see, and it does fit. It's going to be a little bit more snug, but that is okay. I still consider this a success.